arcane, like, harangue. It's like sort of racist or whatever, just the way that she is, it just kind of came out, and we were all like, oh, and I was like, oh, I think I sort of got her, like, and then Ryan and Brad would just be like, yeah, like, dude, they would just kind of divvy that stuff up to me, which is like a total, like, gift from God, you know, like, Jane is the most, like, she should be given every award, an award she's not even up for, you know, awesome, like, the coolest person, also from Chicago.
Did you have to balance because her character was so hard, but you still some soft touches in there as well? Is that something you kind of fought through the whole season?
Yeah. I mean, Ryan always makes a joke that, like, every time we do, like, Sue has a soft side, it just buys, like, another whole season of her being, like, a total asshole. But it actually sort of works, and, like, I think we probably, had we not done that, we would have run the damage of it kind of being just, like, kind of a Nurse Ratched-y, kind of like Wicked Witch of the Old West, and she's doesn't have to be that. Like, it's the character's better than that. Jane's better than that. Like, you wouldn't want to. So that was kind of a happy circumstance that we then kind of landed on, like, this like softer, more vulnerable side.
The kind of range up with Will's hair the whole season. Was that you?
Yeah, it was early on. This is sort of mean to say, although he talks about it all the time. But Matthew one time, I've never tried it, and my hair's ridiculous. I'm like, whatever, like, it's crazy, like, it's never right, like, you can't quite get it right, like, but I guess Matthew one time had mentioned how he puts, like, I guess some people with curly hair just put lotion in it, and I just, like, seriously, like, almost, like, projectile vomited, like, and then I was just, like, fascinated, like, I couldn't stop picturing him just being, like, yeah, and, like, he would laugh that way, and, like, and so then it was because it was around the same time, it was that, she brings up, Sue starts, there's a certain point at which she starts talking about his hair, and it was, like, that day, after, like, I was, like, flabbergasted about this lotion thing, and then I was like, oh, that's why she hates him, like, that's why, it's as simple as that, like, it's like, because I do that all the time, like, I have a weird thing, like, if people's, like, just weird things, like, people's front four teeth, like, you know, some people, like, kind of, like, they tilt, they're kind of all in a row, and they tilt back. Anybody ringing a bell? Totally drives me crazy. Like, I can't deal with it.
I sense an episode coming up.
No, they're just like if somebody, like, eats with their mouth open, just, like, weird bugaboos. Like, you could pull me out of a burning building, and I would still just, like, hate you. And so, like, that's like her. It would just be like she was just like a thing. Like, she just does not like him, and that's how it's as simple as that. Right? So that's what it came.
Talk about a little bit the incorporation of the music. Obviously, you know, you had people like Lady Gaga and Madonna. How do they come to you? Do you go to them? Kind of how does that process work?
Both. Lady Gaga. Yeah, it depends. It's I was actually surprised early on that most people, really beginning with Steve Perry, like who is the lead singer of Journey. Although I don't know what the deal is with Journey anymore, because, like, he doesn't like tour with them. But then they have another guy who's literally named, like, I'm not even joking, like Steve Terry or whatever, and he's like a Filipino guy who can just, like, sing exactly, like, something weird going on there, and, like, Steve Perry just, like, lives in the valley in, like, a condo, they have Steve Perry, and, like, he could have totally not been like, go F yourselves, like, I don't need any more, like, royalties or whatever. But then Ryan kind of really sat him down, and I think really made an impassioned plea. He was like, this is not, this is crucial to the show, and it's like, I think this could be kind of a big deal, and sort of introduce your music as kind of I don't know what it is about, like, 70s rock, but there's something about there's an earnestness, like, somehow I feel like a lot of, like, this cynicism, and it's a surprise for me that, like, a lot of, like, cynicism and, like the aggro, I don't know, something about this generation is, like, really earnest. Like, this generation now, like, the Globals, the kind of, like, the New York Times randomly, like, called them, like, a couple of days ago, like, the Glee generation, which is, like, a bit rich. You're like, okay, like, I'll take that, but I don't, it's kind of early. But there is, like, anyway, there's something about that, I think actually Journey's music in particular, that like, I think Ryan just kind of saw it, like, this will echo really well.
And they got a big kickstart in the last episode of Sopranos. They played the Journey song.
Totally, which is why I actually, I totally thought it was a terrible idea, like, using Don't Stop Believin'. I've never been, like, so wrong in my life. Like, I was like, played, like, it's so stupid. Why are we doing it? We're ruining the show. Like, I wanted to, and Brennan and I both, like, wanted to do other songs. And Ryan was like, no, like, no argument. Like, he's like, it's what it is. And then we're like, okay, like, I hope that doesn't, like, totally fuck us. And, like, this, like, weird, like, anthem and, like, song of whatever. Anyway, so they used to, like, it kind of started with him. Like, Steve Perry kind of, like, came on board and then was really, like, supportive. And then very, very few artists now we have trouble with. A lot of times you have trouble getting stuff that samples other music, because a lot of times that's there's already been kind of wrangling over rights and, like, royalties and overall, like,
I would think they would jump at the chance to be on the show because of the iTunes, the downloads.
Totally. Like, one time we tried to get, like, I think it wasn't a Amy Winehouse song, it was maybe like a Katy Perry song or something like that, that has this weird sample of, like, a song from the 70s, and, like, several of the people in the band are dead, and so you're dealing with lawyers in, like, London who are like, wait, what? You know, there's, like, there's a little bit of call to, like, Frankfurt, and, like, trying to explain, like, no, it's like a Glee club, but they, like, like, we just want to use your song. So, like, but other than that, it's been, like, really, like, good. And then as far as song choice, like, we, as I was telling you before, like, I think we all good. The three of us have really good taste in music. I think, like, Brad, like, for Brad, like, it begins and ends with Springsteen. For me, it, like, all begins and ends with The Who, and, like, for Ryan, it all begins with, like, and ends with, like, Barbra Streisand. And always that's kind of the mix. It's kind of 30-30-30 of, like, this kind of, like, of kind of a classic rock, and then a little bit more of, like, the American, like, 70s. And Ryan kind of plays DJ, I think. We'll pitch stuff, but, like, I don't, he has a much better sense of, like, I don't know what's on, like, the charts. Like, I don't care. I don't know. That's not the kind of music I listen to. It just isn't. And, like, and I think, you know, you all have your own thing. And randomly, Ryan is just, like, he has an encyclopedic knowledge of, like, a couple things. One is, like, who won Oscars when and what they wore. Like, you cannot stump him. You can literally say, like, when Elizabeth Taylor, like, the third time she went to the Oscars, like, what was she wearing? I'd be like, oh, that would have been, like, 1968. Anyway, that, and then, like, he just knows, like, what was on the charts when. Like, he could be, so he just happens to know, like, just have a sense of, like, for the past, like, 40 years, like, what's sort of been in the water music-wise. And, like, I think early on, we kind of, once we kind of hit into, like, what works, and I think we just have a better sense of, like, you can just, as we pitch songs to one another, it's like, right away you know if it'll work. You'll be like, that's not a Glee song. And it's weird now, because it used to be that, like, I just wanted songs that I like on the show, but, like, now it's not even, like, there are just songs that work for the show. Like, I think we have lived and breathed it enough that we just have a sense of, like, what works in the dynamics of it, and, like, what can play and what won't. And it generally tends to work out.